This conference will now be recorded.
I'll never one. I should have spoken my clearly. I just wanted to help you. Welcome to the Blaine County Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, June the third. Reverend Brian Hickman from New Center Baptist Church is going to provide the invocation, and Alan Johnson will lead us in the pledge of allegiance. And Brian, before you come, congratulations. Yesterday was a big day.
Let us pray. Father God, you're gracious, you're good, and we thank you for all things, Lord. We thank you for allowing us to be here tonight, God. I stand before you and I ask your blessing upon the leaders of our county, God. I ask your blessing upon the community around us, Lord, and our state and our country and the whole world, God. We just ask your blessings on it, God, that your presence will be felt. Dear Heavenly Father, I just pray that all the decisions, the discussions, and all things will just be done to glorify you. All these things I ask and pray in Jesus' precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brian, if you would, let me just give you this little token for appreciation from the county commissioners. We got here to see. We got there.
Thank y'all.
Motion to approve the consent item. Motion to approve. Second by Mr. Ellis. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? At this time, I've opened the public hearing. If there's anyone here to sign up to have comments about the proposed 24-25 Blaine County budget. Is anyone here to speak? I declare the public hearing closed. I open a public hearing to receive comments regarding the proposed 24-25 economic development budget. Is there anyone here to speak on that? I'll close that public hearing and we'll go to individuals and delegations wishing to address the commissioners. At this time, I'd like to ask the White Oak Fire Department to come forward and the commissioners come forward, and we've got the commissioners that want to say a few comments about.
Okay, yes, we all want.
Kind of continue on the firing line. Oh, okay. Stand in front of that.
Y'all good, look close. Don't see how everybody do it. So y'all got to step up.
Step on up to the left.
Y'all stand up here by me.
So thank you for being here tonight and for allowing us to honor you. Commissioner Britton, I had the privilege of coming and having a good meal with you guys last month and sharing. Felt a little guilty. We got to share like we had something to do with it. But you all worked so hard to lower your rating from a 9 to a 6, which is tremendous. From a 9 to an 8 is a lot of work, but from a 9 to 6 is something to be applauded. One of the good things about living in a small community is we know one another, and we share when we're in going through a hard time. We share victories as well. And I know Tim Tatum, your chief, wishes he could be here tonight. He's laid up with a broke hip, so he sent me a text a little bit ago and shared his regret for not being able to be here. But you're also you're now a role model for the other small departments across our county. To do that, it wasn't just a matter of shining up a truck. I mean, you guys worked so hard for so long, dotting every I and crossing every T. So we're proud of you, and we look forward to other departments following your lead. So thank you for being here.
Again, I ditto to what Mr. Cameron said. You've heard us say it before, you can feel it in the air. You can see it in you guys' face. The work that you've done, the reduction of an expense for your entire community, going from a 9 to a 6. A lot of people don't realize the dollar savings, but in some homes, that's multiple hundreds per year. And I can appreciate that for each and every one of them. I know your work ethic, and also know Mr. Tatum's work ethic. I might tell mine his age when I tell you he worked for me in 1980 in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. But man of integrity, and I can tell his work ethic is with you folks. And the top's no better than the people that work with him to achieve what y'all done for your community. The state was there presenting the award. It was just a good evening, a night of excitement, and you could tell it in each and every one of us. So I appreciate what you do for your community as well as the county. We thank you so much.
Congratulations. It's necessary. Thank you.
I want to take a picture so we can send to Tim real quick.
Let you know, Mr. Robert here's one of the founding members. He's been here longer than just that, well, any of them.
Thank you.
Send that to me too.
I will.
I'm sorry. You got bigger feet. You come on in. But you can't
Watch
do
them
it
big
all that
feet
way.
of yours now.
Don't repeat. Can you?
Let me get a couple.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Thank you so much.
Praying for you.
Oh, you
Congratulations to all of you. Thank
Y'all
you.
work hard.
Congratulations. Proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, Ron. All right.
Congratulations. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm out there all the time. See y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see y'all. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah, so much. Yeah.
Trash can over there. Let me get your trash can. She got another one.
Huh?
Oh, no, that's trash can. I done missed it. There we go.
Greg, you want to come on forward? Yes. The next item on the agenda is Bladen County is currently going through, or in the process of going through, updating our flood damage prevention ordinance, which and including in that is our firm maps, our flood insurance rate maps are going to change. So we have two representatives here tonight from Department of Emergency Management, Stacy Fuller and Milton Carpenter. And Stacy's going to give you a quick look at the FRIA system, which is FRIA is for the mapping program for the whole state. Yeah. Or NC FRIA. Okay.
I will let Milton kind of introduce who we are and what
So we'll let the old man start off. That's okay. Good evening, good afternoon. Commissioners, other staff members, citizens, thank you for the opportunity of allowing us to come here and be your home. It's always a good day to get outside of Raleigh, I tell you, and to get out and play. It's been a long time since I've been here. We almost got lost, but GPS got us here. Okay? but still, again, thanks for the opportunity. As Greg has said, we have a new flood insurance rate maps, flood maps, whatever you want to call it, same thing, for Bladen County. They're not effective yet, and that's a good thing. We're sort of like looking into the future. So these are the maps, and Stacey, we've got some really good tools, and trust me, they're easy. I'm the old dog. I don't know the tricks very well, but you're going to find this to be very, very easy. And we want to make sure that we are very comfortable with what's going on. We have some 9 new structures that will be going into the special flood hazard area when these maps go effective, and they may be required to carry flood insurance in the future. One of the reasons why we're coming here, we want to at least make sure we get the opportunity to speak with these people. We've actually done a mailing to these folks. We want them to make sure they know what their rights are, and not to get a really bad notice 2 years from now saying you got about flood insurance out of the blue, So so we will actually have an appeal period. We'll talk about this more in the future where you can actually look at the maps and go, well, maybe things have happened. Since these things happen, you can actually appeal the decision. Not saying you're going to win, but you actually have that opportunity. You want to make sure that it's not a big brother thing, that you do have actually a voice in this. So again, and as Greg has said, we're looking at updating your flood damage prevention ordinance. And so basically, I wish we could say that flooding was only going to occur where the maps say that's going to occur, but that's not the case. Floods do not read flood maps. So we do a real good job. We spend a lot of money, a lot of time trying to pinpoint where it is. We've got several structures coming out with structures going in, and that's sort of how it's going to be. But the important thing is we do want to make sure that we develop that area that's more likely to flood than others. The special flood hazard area, we call it 100-year flood zones, 80 zones, whatever you want to call it. We want to make sure we develop this area in a responsible manner. And that's going to change from community to community. We would not expect Bladen County to have the same requirements as Wake or Mecklenburg, because it's much more denser there. And you have a lot more, and the floodplains are a lot wider down here than they are back west. So I mean, they're different things. And so it's a give and take. And we understand that we're trying to find that perfect balance. So again, if any development we define development as any man-made change. For example, if there's a storm and a tree falls into the creek, that's not development. But if we want to go ahead and remove that tree, that is development, because that is a man-made change. As weird as it may seem, and any development will need a permit from our floodplain administrator. And we're not saying that we can't do it, but we want to make sure we're doing it the proper way, the most effective way, so that we aren't making a bad situation worse. And that's what the ordinance is about. And we'll spend quite a bit of time working on it to make sure that's what you need, what you want, and it takes care of us and our citizens best of all. And with respect to maps or whatever. Okay, yeah, and we are a ways away from that. As I said, there's a whole process. There's been a 90-day appeal period that the citizens will be actually able to appeal these maps. We don't know when that date's going to occur, but they can actually start making these appeals to Greg, and we'll work with Greg. They actually start now. So the window's actually 90 days, but in North Carolina, because of the way we do things, you have those 90 days plus the time up to the 90 days. So it could be a long, long time, but if someone wants to appeal maps, they want to go ahead and get that done now. 6 months before these maps go effective, we get a letter of final determination, and it's at that point that we must adopt these maps. If we do not adopt these maps, the community will be kicked out of the National Flood Insurance Program, which means no flood insurance will not be sold or renewed. Aid from FEMA will be discontinued. There's a whole lot of bad things will occur, and we just want to make sure that does not happen. We will be in constant communication with you to make sure that that does not happen. One quick thing about flood insurance too is the cost of flood insurance. If anybody here has flood insurance, it's going up. It's going up, and I wish I had some numbers. I'll be seeing some numbers about this a little bit later on. And these maps used to determine what the cost of flood insurance was. That went out. That's gone. That's no longer an object. But it will determine if you have to purchase flood insurance or not. But the cost is going up. And FEMA has different many variables now as far as how they determine what the fair price is. A lot of folks may have been upset because they may think that people on the coast pay less. In some cases, they may have. Those days are gone. Everyone would now start paying what the actual rate is. Once upon a time, structures that were built before the ordinance, before the maps, sort of got a break. We call it the pre-firm break. Those days are gone. Everybody's now paying whatever the actual cost for the insurance is. As I said, it's going up. So we want to really make sure that we are protecting our citizens as best we can, and we're trying to keep as much money at home and not sending it off to federal government. And with that, and again, we want to sort of keep this brief because there's a lot of information, but we'll be here until 8:30 to answer any questions that anyone may have. I think there's a room that we have. So, feel free to stop by, talk, and ask any question or doing the speaking, whatever, and we'll answer to the best of our ability. And I'll turn it over to Stacey right now, and she's going to show you FRIS, the flood insurance rate source system. Thank you.
Thank you. On the screen, you'll see the FRIS website. This is the landing page for FRIS, which is like my hair on FRIS. North Carolina Flood Risk Information System. That's what FRIS stands for. I'll tell you, we're doing an update, so next year this time, we'll probably still be going through the mapping process, and you'll see it change, and it'll be for the better. But I'll show you definitely how it works to be able to look up the areas that are changing so that you'll know where the changes are. You can search Frizz right here if you have an address, most people would. I'm going to come here and I'm just going to choose Bladen County and it'll zoom me in, as you can see. As I zoom in, you'll start seeing the special flood hazard areas and you'll start seeing lots of different colors. These maps always default to the effective view because that's what's effective right now. But we want to look at what's coming up, and that's the preliminary view. So you come here and you click on effective and you choose preliminary. So in the past, as we did updates for the mapping process, you would see county-wide changes, but now the changes are kind of like panel-wise, and they're done through riverine basins. As you can see, you have areas that are grayed out, and then you have areas that are not. So if the area is not and it has a green around the number, those are preliminary panels. So always associate green with prelim. I will come here and open up flood information, and I'm just going to zoom into an area. And there's no structures here. There's very few. This is Turnbull Creek. There's very few, but I'm going to just put my push buttons. Just say someone wanted to develop here, and you have preliminary maps. You have a base flood elevation here at this point, and you can scroll in pretty nicely. You get your base flood elevation, and the base flood elevation, you get a lot of fun information here, but it's defined as the height that you expect the water to occur during the base flood. And that's where FEMA says if you're in the blue, then you need to pay flood insurance if you have a loan that is federally backed, a mortgage. So if you're in this blue area and you want it to develop, this is, you own this property, you want to develop, you'll see here, this is the center line, the green of the stream. Okay, so you're kind of close to the stream, you expect that. During the 1% annual chance flood, that doesn't mean water is here right now. What it means is during that 1% or the 100-year in layman's terms flood, that this is where we expect the water to be. Again, as Milton said, floods don't read flood maps. So sometimes you'll see areas where it's yellow, and I'll see if I can find that for you. Under preliminaries, those are the 500-year floodplains, and they're not regulated by FEMA. But if you're doing development, you would like to know, and there's not a whole lot of them around here, which is good. It's good. That means that the land elevation is kind of the same. If you see this right here, this is a letter of map revision. It's not in the green, so we didn't even touch this area. So it's really not to be worried about. But as you go through the maps, here's an area. I just want you to be aware of what all these fun colors mean. The yellow, again, if I click in here, you see here 0.2 annual chance flood. In layman's terms, 500-year. If you're here, you don't have to have flood insurance. But if you're developing here and you know that a lot of our events are 500-year events, especially the hurricanes that come through, tend to pour a ton of water, and we get 500-year events during those types of occurrences, then you would definitely want to at least build like you would if you were in the blue. I wouldn't put a slab on a home as a foundation in an area that's in the yellow. As a matter of fact, I probably wouldn't put one if it was even close to the special flood hazard area. This area here with the hashtag, this is the floodway, and this is the area where the fastest moving waters is suspected to be, and we try to keep this area free and clear of any development. And if you do, you have to have what's called a no-rise if you want to develop in this area. And you're saying that wherever you develop, you're not going to cause a rise in the river at any point along the stream. I mean, 0.0 rise, because what happens is that negates our maps. Our maps are designed and engineered that we expect development out here in the blue or even the yellow. But if you develop here, then you have a rise in that makes everything else spill over and not be accurate as we would like them to be. So if you, NORAD is an engineering study and they cost lots of money, but just looking along, you don't see a lot of development here. You don't see any structures, not a lot. So that's a good thing. That means you have everything is on the outskirts. But for those who did fall into the category of having being mapped into the special flood hazard area, and here's a structure here. So this is what it would look like. It would highlight the structure. I can click on it, and down here it'll tell me approximate address. This is White Creek Baptist Church on Airport Road. So, the maps are a really good tool. And again, I encourage you to definitely take a look, go to the preliminary, and see what's going on. I'm going to scroll out and show you one final thing before I leave. Here in the layers, we have what's called changes since last firm for the floodway, changes since last firm, the special flood hazard area. And you see how pretty? I just colored my map, and then I'm going to make it even more busy. I'm going to hit revisions. So the revision layer shows you where we revised the maps. So as you can see, when I cut it on, scoop this over here, close this over there. This is your revision layer, and this shows that we revised this particular stream. If you have a stream on a panel that doesn't have this, like right here, you don't see that revision, we did not touch it. Okay, so this lets you know where we revised. And this lets us know what the revisions were. So here in red means there was an addition or more information given. And as you can see on Hammond Creek, all of this area here, this is the floodway, is new. So it's red to say we got new data and you have a floodway. Sure.
Were these levels, were they drawn off Florence? Because, we had 3 100-year floods in 19 years, right?
Right.
99, 16, 18, and all you heard was, and then after Florence, everything changed drastically. So I was just wondering, as far as those waterways.
The engineering for these maps do take into account a lot of synthetic storms. And if we had data, and I don't know when they actually when they did the data runs for these particular, but I'll say that if we had it, we would have used it. But mapping process takes a long time. I think, when did we start? When did we have here? It was probably in 2009 or 2010. So we started the process to get to this point back in 09 and 10. So when they started doing the actual mapping, it just depends on what the timing of where that hit and what information we had. So I couldn't answer that right now, but I can definitely check. Sure.
When the storms came through, and insurance companies and people were assessing damage to the home, and their stipulation was that if it didn't come into the roof, they were not responsible for it. But at the same time, water came in on people's houses that were not in the floodplain zone, but it damaged the foundation and stuff to their home. Who determines who's responsible for paying what happens to your home? Do you have to have insurance? Even if you're not in the risk area, or your FEMA pay and assess what damages happen. I'm asking who's the person responsible for holding on to that?
That's a real good question. And we have to go back to determine what the definition of flood is. Basically, the definition of flood is rising water in source. Rising water. So water coming down, roof blows off, water comes down and wets inside. That's not flood. It has to be rising water. It has to be coming up on normally dry land. So there's a difference. So again, roof blows off, water comes in, that's not considered flood. If a water main breaks and it gets to your house, that's a flood. and it has a cross on these two properties or 7 miles, I'll put it for you. But we have to meet that definition of flood first of all. Okay, so if it is flood, and you have flood insurance, and you raise another good point. If you do not have flood insurance, homeowners are not going to pay. They're not going to touch it. Now, if the roof blows off and things get wet, your homeowner should cover that. But if a water main breaks or if one of your pipes inside your house breaks and it covers 2 areas or whatever, and that is a flood, the homeowner's not going to cover it. So it gets real technical. It's how you report it, and it's what you document as well. Like I said, real good question, and it's going to be a tough one. I mean, because if the homeowners don't have to pay, if the homeowners insurance don't have to pay it, they're not going to pay it. And if you do not have flood insurance, you may not get it paid, and you may have to try and get a loan or something like that from FEMA. But you will find, well, at least it used to be, there was folks in the in the X zone that was not required to carry flood insurance. I like to play the numbers, and I look at also the insurance numbers, and I found people in the X zone that were not required to carry flood insurance because the cost of insurance is so cheap. They would max out, where people were required to carry it because it cost more, would get the minimum. And that's kind of what happened to the program, because like those homes, they did get hit because we did have 500 events. When you watch the news, and got sort of around right now, but we've been blessed. North Carolina, the last few years, I've seen some stuff on TV that's more like, I'm glad that stuff is out the West, it's not really here. We've seen a whole lot of stuff out there. And so you may not be required to carry flood insurance, but maybe that's a good idea, particularly if you're real close to special flood hazard area, if you're close. And look at the topography. If you're up on a hill, okay, that's going to give you some protection. If you're by streets that's like gives you a damming sort of effect, that's going to give you protection. But if you're on level or low ground, they won't consider buying flood insurance because you are now at risk. And we do not map every possible scenario. There's a new map that we're sort of putting out right now. If you want to show that now, or Stacy, whereby there's a whole lot of little trips, little creeks or whatever, that we don't map. But it doesn't mean that's flood. So again, we're not saying that this is an area that will flood or will not flood. This is just really areas that are more likely to flood than others. But it doesn't mean that these areas will not flood. Sir.
No, it appears that it's very good work. But you're doing us a disservice. Just telling me homeowners ain't gonna cover it. Flood insurance is so high people can't afford it. You got us in a bind. If FEMA's gonna do anything, they need to subsidize flood insurance or make it so people can afford it. Even the homeowners around here is gone out the roof. Poor rural people can't make it, and you bringing me a beautiful map that's just going to cripple us even more.
Sir, I respect what you're saying, and I do not disagree with you at all.
Well, I just want you to take it on up. That's all I want you to do. You don't have to respond.
No, I don't mind. I look at my job as giving you the best information that I can. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you what I know, And it may not be, it's not necessarily going to be the theme of role that we're supposed to say, but I'm going to tell you what I know, You'll probably not get this if you go to a FEMA setting, and you were just in one a couple weeks ago. They may not tell you all of these things. There are places right now where you can't buy homeowners insurance anymore. There's just things that you can't buy. There are companies that are pulling out. Okay, basically, I want to give you as much information. I want to make sure that we develop as best we can to protect our citizens. If we're near flood, if we're going to build an area that's likely to flood, I'm not saying we need to dictate how they build, especially within Zone X, because they can do what they want to. But at least we want to say, hey, look, these are common sense practices. We may not want to put a slab on rate because that's the most expensive insurance rate you're going to get. If you can't put it on a crawl, you're going to save yourself a lot of money on flood insurance. If you put it on piers of houses, it's going to save you more. If you put it on a slab, put it in the basement, you're going to pay a whole lot more money for that flood insurance. That's information I want to give our citizens so that they can do things to protect themselves in the future.
And I appreciate that. And I want to talk about the information we share, and I'm talking about the information, how it's going to affect us.
Okay.
The land that you say there's no facilities on, buildings, that's farmland, rich farmland. That's the reason there's a lot of farmland, especially across the river in the Kelly area.
But are the insurance companies going to follow this same map that you guys are laying out?
Yes, sir.
Here, they will use this map to determine
Once it goes
this is the
effective.
official-
your risk would be, what your insurance would be, the rates and how it should adjust according to what your map is.
This is the official map, but, before FEMA changed, before FEMA went to risk rating 2.0, the map did determine how much you paid for flood insurance. Risk rating 2.0 started about 3 or 4 years ago, and all of that changed. If you told me where you live, I could tell you approximately how much you pay for flood insurance, but I used to get the rates, I could tell you where we were. Those days are gone. Basically, FEMA has thrown this out. They do not use the map to determine the cost of the insurance. They still use the map to determine if you have to buy it or you don't have to buy it, but it doesn't affect the cost. There's several things that they look at. They look at how close are you to the flooding source. So if I'm real close to the stream or the ocean or whatever, you're going to pay more. Now, then the second is how high that first floor is elevated. That's why I say a slab is going to be lower than a crawl space. If you got a crawl space and you have this opening, that floor is even higher. That's going to give you a break on the insurance. If your slab on grade or be in a basement, so you actually below ground, that's going to be very costly. So the insurance company they do look at this, but that does not determine your rate. It determines whether or not you have to buy it or not. FEMA has a whole list of things. I'd be happy to share this with you as far as what determines how much you're going to pay for flood insurance.
I actually live in a flood zone. I pay probably around $500 a year for flooding. When you say it's going up, is that, do you have any kind of percentage or anything?
You have a great rate.
Yeah, start sucking.
You have a great rate. Yeah, and I'll tell you, to be totally honest with you, we're in Moore County about a week or 2 weeks ago, and the cost of insurance, those folks paid a lot more. There were no $500 policies in Moore County. There were none. Now, let me ask you this. Have your insurance gone up over the last year or so? Yeah. Okay. Now, you may have had a really, really good rate, and it'll probably go up each year by, it's called a glide until you reach whatever your actual is, but without knowing how much insurance you're covered, all the other particulars, I really can't answer that. But if you're going up, you can probably look at the glide from year to year and imagine it's going to be about the same thing for maybe 10 years, about 8 to 10 years. I believe.
And what happened is, before Florence, I was not in the flood zone.
Gotcha.
After Florence, I looked at the maps and I'm in it. But I don't know, maybe these maps haven't taken effect yet. Since Florence, then I guess I was just looking at the preliminary map when I saw that I was in the flood zone now. So that might be why.
Do you want us to look at that at your address?
That'd be fine.
So, and we can look at any addresses you'd like to while we're here.
Right, and just showing you the color codes, red means that there was an increase and people that are inside the red may have come into the special flood hazard area, and green means there's a decrease. So there were both increases and decreases because streams meander and they change over time, and it's just based on storms, if the stream is cleared or not. So a lot of just environmental reasons why that may happen. But we can definitely take a look. I just wanted you to.
Where are you at right now?
On the map, this is White Creek area.
White Creek, okay.
Mm-hmm.
White Creek.
This is Red Hill Street, White Plains Church Road area.
White Plains, okay, I got you.
Just showing some area. But if you want me to look up an address, I can look it up right here and we can. Certainly.
That's why we're here.
It's 116 Lee Street. That's in Bladensboro.
I think it's the house over there.
House on the water.
Mail. Oh, he's on one good.
So does this look familiar?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So
like I said, before Florence, I was not in the flood zone. I was close, but since.
Can you swim?
So this is the center line of the creek, which is lateral 7 Creek. This is the property, and then you get your base flood elevations. And one thing we did give is if you ever want to do any type of development and you wanted base flood elevations for different year occurrence intervals, like if you wanted to put in a drainage ditch and you wanted to make sure that it could handle the 100-year or even the 50-year or 25-year. We give different flood elevation data now with these new maps. Let's go back. I'm gonna go to where I was. So it doesn't look like we actually touched. You don't see my revision layer is still on. So we did not revise this particular go around. So it is the same as it was. If I click back here to effective, it should be the exact same. And the effective maps went effective. In 2007, 1/5/2007. So that's when that particular map.
I know when I had my surveying done, even the surveyor told me I was not in the flood zone. I bought the house.
Oh, wow.
I was not, maybe now, but I wasn't.
You want to look up here?
927 Graham Road.
927.
I got a vote.
The difference is mine cost about $510, but it went up, but only because I had a flood in my house from my washer. They said it's not a flood, but it did. The one on the floor,
It would have to cover 2 blocks in order to be considered.
it wasn't a flood, but anyway, it messed the water down.
Yeah, in order to be, that's the definition.
So
Rigorous. And so that's why mine cost about $100, but it's not bad.
That shouldn't affect the one claim really should not affect your rate.
Okay. So it's
But
probably.
like I say now, what is actually insurance company?
Federal flood. Federal flood, and it's cheap, it's inexpensive.
So it's, you're not in the special flood hazard area right now, and let's go to preliminary.
Well, let me comment on that.
We did not
So
study.
if you're in zone X, and that's where you are, if you're in zone X, before they change, you could get like, could have maxed out for like $200 a year flood insurance. I mean, if you're in zone X, if you're in a non-regulated area, it was a great deal. I mean, people in zone X bought the maximum because it was a great deal. Exactly. But that was not the act. People found out later that's not the act. That's something they should have charged. And a lot of folks, because so many people outside the zone X who weren't supposed to get flooded, got flooded. And these are huge claims because they all maxed out their policy. And people almost would think, well, as a result of that, they say, okay, no more of this. Everything's going to be on the actual. So for you, you're going to be on like a 10-year glide. It's just going to go up like about 10 until it reaches whatever they say the actual is. So
it's not that bad.
Okay, so we're gonna let y'all go set up in the other room,
Thank
and we'll take a break for 10 minutes.
Okay.
If I could do one thing real quick, if I may, just look at these as tools, and you're absolutely right. I mean, this is the bearer of bad news in many cases, but look at this as a tool. Some communities, and I'll just mention Dare and Hyde, for an example. They got the new maps, and there was some, and they thought that the maps were not correct. So they actually went out and put pre-book throughout the entire county. They said, okay, we like your maps, but we don't really trust the maps, and we think the maps might come back later and damage our citizens more. So they decided to put pre-book throughout the whole county or whatever to protect their citizens again. So my point is, these are tools. We just want to make sure we use the tools to the best of our extent to protect our citizens.
I'll share something that I witnessed and my son witnessed at the same time in a month. My insurance company was canceling me. And I don't think I'm in a flood zone. But the company was doing this basically all over with no excuses pretty much.
All safe.
And my son, that's one of them, but it wasn't. It probably wouldn't be professional for me as a commissioner to say this, but I'll share this with you. And my son's right, the waterway behind his house pretty much in Shallow. So I sought insurance, and he went with the same company I do. The only thing I would suggest to you is look at membership-owned insurance companies. He saved 70%. Mine, instead of, if I could have got it, would have been double. It saved me 45% of what I was already paying.
Right. We're gonna take a break. Y'all gonna set up, and then we'll be around in 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Individual delegates wish to address the board, Ms. Marie. Myers, go ahead, Myers.
Good evening, Mr. Commissioner. Councilman Goins and members of the board. You all know that I'm the mayor of Clarkton. My aim is to grow Clarkton, and I think we started that on 27th of May by having a parade that hasn't been done in 25 years. In my opinion, it was a successful event, and we'll do it again. But I'm here to ask you all for money tonight. And Mr. Chairman, you talked about the budget at the beginning of the meeting, and I didn't stand up then because I don't want to affect the budget. But we're looking at about $28,000 to buy bleachers for the Dixie Youth Park down in Clarkton. They're probably 40 years old. They're wooden. We have wood screws that rotted through, and wood is on one end of the bleachers is doing this, it's curling up, and other places it's rotting through. So we need to get those out of there before we get somebody hurt. We, Clarkton, have put in $12,000 in the budget, and I'm asking you all that you all will get together and give us $15,000 so that we can get that project taken care of. Also, we have lights in the park that's been there probably, I won't say since I was born, but it's been there a long time. It's those old light bulbs that's about 6 inches around, and they draw a lot of juice. We need to get those replaced. I talked to Duke Energy, and some individual told me it would take $364,000 to replace those lights. If there are any lights in the Bladen County Park system that you all are taking down, I'd ask that you all would have those brought down to Clarkton and put up down there in the Dixie Youth Park so that we don't have to use those. I don't know what to call them, but they are light bulbs, incandescent light bulbs, and they just, in my opinion, they're obsolete, but that's what we have, so that's what we have to use. We had a tournament down there on last Friday, and had a great turnout. We're going to have a state tournament down there in July. And in the past years, it's been a great event for Clarkton, and people come from all over the state, and they like what goes on down there. So I ask for your help in getting this taken care of.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else, Ms. Marie? Matters of interest, commissioners?
Chairman, I got one thing.
Okay.
I got a new updated copy of the Bladen County Personnel Policy, and there have been some revised articles in there, Article 4, 5, 6, and 7, that I could determine. My question is, how do the employees know about it? How do we advise the employees of the new revision in the policy, personnel policy? How do we do that?
Get back with John.
Okay.
That's okay.
I have one. The citizens of Carver's Creek been having issues with their water. I guess I saw Mr. McClary come in. And what she was saying, one of them said that they have called I'm just trying to protect, that she called the water department, and they came out, they flushed them, but they still cannot drink their water. So I don't know what to say on that one. I'm trying to find her text.
Okay.
So if they can have somebody take it to that.
We'll look at that in the morning also. Anyone else? So, since the last time we talked about the proposed budget 24-25, there's been just $2,000 here and $2,000 there is on things changed. I'm not gonna go through that whole budget again. If anybody's got any questions, we'll try to answer for Todd. Now we're gonna move on to the next item.
This year on the county, that's fund balance for the
Most of it's just minimal, moving money, some of it's saving money. Okay. So item 6 for June the 24th is there's like about 15 advisory boards we got appointed, so let's go to work on those, please. And item 7 is calendar review for June. Blood drive tomorrow, Hickory Grove Baptist Church. Friday, you got East Blaine High School graduation at 10 a.m. And West Blaine is graduating at 3 p.m. and all of it's at Blaine Middle School. June the 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th is the summer camp at the community college. I think this did still have a few open slots, but most classes are closed, I think. What I've seen somewhere on Facebook or somewhere. You're interested, call and see what's open if you want to send your grandkids. Health and Human Service meets 5 o'clock on the 10th. Blood drive, Blaine County Hospital is 11 on June the 11th at 12 o'clock, 12 to 3. And on June the 13th, the annual fundraiser for Jim and Sue Schultz at the Cape Fear Winery. That's the Revive Dinner. June the 18th, aviation, the camp starts at the airport, aviation from 8 to 12. And they're taking applications, and that's about all I know about that. Grades 5 through 8. It says contact Rusty Worley.
Carl, can I add something to the 19th?
Sure.
At 6 p.m. on June the 19th at West Coast, we're going to have a scholarship award ceremony for graduating seniors from all the school system in the county. We're going to be giving out 14 scholarships.
Okay. That's at Winston?
That's at Winston. Yeah.
Also, Mr. Chairman, there was a Juneteenth celebration in Mount Olive community here in Elizabethtown from the 15th through the 19th. On the 19th was the Juneteenth parade in Elizabethtown.
Okay. 15th through 19th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. June the 24th, Blaine County Board of Commissioners meet. In July 1st is prayer service. Thursday, office is closed for Independence Day. Just closed one day. Oh, man.
Can't get to it. Give you Friday off.
You can.
Half a day Friday.
July the 8th is Health and Human Service meeting at 5 o'clock. The 9th of July is the Substance Abuse Task Force meeting at the Health Department at 2 o'clock. Animal Control Board meets at 6 p.m. that evening. July the 10th, Duke Energy Key Leaders and Update. That's at the Emergency Service. So we need to mark that on calendar. We need to come if we can.
Which one?
Last one was canceled, right? Yeah, the last one was canceled.
What date is that?
June the 10th, 10 o'clock at the Emergency Service.
July.
July 10th. July 10th.
Yeah, that last one was canceled.
Yeah. So if we put that again, and then the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th is the NACO conference in Tampa. Board of we meet the 15th of July at 6:30. These are individuals or delegations wish to address the commission. One signed up. 8 individual organizations commissioner. Anybody got anything? The various nonprofit applications. And, so in the past, we've been splitting it among the ones that have applied. Is that what we want to do this year?
I think, a lot of the citizens are having trouble getting their ramps done. So I don't know. Is it because they're not doing it?
Well, there's a backlog, and pretty much.
Yeah.
Some of our folks here tonight.
And that's.
They're so far behind right now, but funding is.
I think they
always an
really,
issue.
it is. And, cause they'll call it, and not my point is, go to vigilant agent or someplace else if they can't help. But we have a lot, they call up about 2 months.
So they got a youth group coming in here in July. They're gonna do.
Baptist.
They're gonna do 12 ramps that week. They already got the work lined up, material and everything, people to leave 12 ramps. But the Division of Aging and Lumber River Council Government usually has money if somebody needs ramps, they need to contact.
They do, and I don't know what happened, they couldn't help.
And actually, increase it.
They did already, but they couldn't get those ramps done, I can tell you that.
Well, ain't nobody can do them, I mean, no matter if you got the money or not, there ain't nobody to do it.
But the Baptists could use more money though.
Right.
And it's because they can't, they requested.
What are you asking?
I'm asking they get
I'm
more
sorry,
money.
what?
I was just hoping we give them more money.
Well, they need people to build them is what they need right now.
Mr. Chairman,
Still need to have some money.
I think the gentleman that does the planning, he's been in kind of down.
We had a rotator cuff.
He had a rotator cuff, and
right.
he's not up to par now to start planning in.
That's not stopped David from planning, because he was the one that told us today that they were gonna do 12 in July.
12, and that's good. So
Well, that's what I was told.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm saying, he obviously is requesting a lot of money.
Yeah. You know.
We've had the COVID money in past years, we don't have this year. He wouldn't be requesting if it wasn't needed.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That's a great point. So,
We need to give them more money, that's what I'm asking.
So my point is, we need to check the Lumber River Council of Government, like we did last time, we gave money last time, and there was plenty of money sitting over at Lumber River Council of Government. That's all I'm saying. But we'll do whatever the board wants to do. So what's the pleasure of the board?
check with the lumber road.
Check before we do anything.
We table this turn.
Yeah.
Let's take this.
Motion take.
Motion by Cameron, table, second by Doc.
Yeah, because I think.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Thank you.
You can remove, American Legion, post 521, you can remove that. American Legion.
I'm not sure.
I don't, I can't go over and get the money.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I think you guys never got a list. They're so far down.
Item 10, entertain a motion to go in closed session for.
Motion to go in closed session.
-3-11, economic development and personnel.
Motion to go into closed session.
Bull, second by
Second.
Rodney, any discussion? All right, let's take a few minutes to go look at the map.
This conference will now be recorded.
Motion by
Yeah, we gotta record, wait to record.
Yeah.
Motion by Mr. Scott. Go ahead. Please. Motion by Mr. Cosgrove, second by Mr. Scott. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Chair, I make a motion that we begin compensating our acting interim county manager beginning this month, at the rate of $5,000 per month. In addition, that we pay him retroactively a total of $20,000 for the 4 months he has currently served as that position.
I second. Motion by Mr. Cameron, second by Mr. Britt. Any discussion?
Mr. Pearson, obviously you're recusing yourself from that vote.
Yeah, I can still do everything but vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Got one person, you satisfied with, but be satisfied with what we're doing.
All right. I was all right with whatever you come out of. Okay.
Working anyway.
So I entertain a motion to adopt the budget.
So moved.
Second. Mark, second by Cameron. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's it, right?
I have one thing, just
Okay, go ahead.
very simple, just to follow up on our conversation about the nonprofits. Currently, there are 42 ramps in Bladen County scheduled to be built, 24 that have been measured, and they're waiting on materials, 18 that are being measured. There is a donut hole. So the Division on Aging can provide funds for those over 60. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people in our community who have major health issues that are under 60, and that's where there's a lack of funding. They just got a check from Trinity Methodist Church for $4,000, which helps them to buy materials for a couple more ramps, but at that point, they'll be.
Thank you so much.
Just wanted to, while it was fresh on our minds, give you that information.
All right. entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion adjourned. All in favor, say aye.